Are you thinking about taking the dive into business intelligence, but you're struggling to justify the implementation and software costs? You're not alone. A common question of how can charts and graphs save money is often raised, and it tends to indicate a twofold problem. First one is people might not see the value in well-implemented business intelligence in the first place. What's the value in visualizing data in general? Second is they don't know how to quantify it. My goal today is to give you a way to quantify it by helping you calculate the ROI of implementing a business intelligence solution. If you're interested in digging into the first point of the value of visualization in general, take a look at the video that we did on the benefits of data visualization. It will help you. To help quantify a return on investment, I've created a dashboard that will help us run a scenario. Let's dig into it. And of course, if it doesn't help you get your desired ROI, my financial advisor has a backup plan for you. Oh, and I'm Jeff, and this is Off the Charts with Jeff. Here's a what-if style dashboard that I created using Dundas BI. It starts by having us input some ballpark figures about the team who's ultimately going to receive the benefits of a business intelligence tool. Let's start by having a team of 20 people, for example, who are going to be the heavy users of the system. Everything that I enter here, I want to keep as conservative as possible so that we can have a more accurate worst case scenario in terms of ROI. So let's put in an average salary of all these 20 employees at maybe $60,000 per year. And let's say that this team is also going to be very efficient at their jobs already. So we're basically trying to eke out a little bit more efficiency for them as they do their job. And lastly, we'll say that this project is going to last for 5 years. Now let's define the complexity of our project. Maybe we know that we have data issues, and we know that we're going to need some time to solve this. Even if we choose a tool that's specifically going to help solve data problems, these things can still take time. Or maybe we just have a lot of dashboards, or maybe business is demanding a high degree of customization. While it's impossible to perfectly estimate these costs and the time it will take, we can at least try to put something in that's reasonable. Also, as a quick aside, don't be fooled into thinking that products with a high ease of use directly correlates into faster implemented projects. The problem is that products that are easy to learn and start using tend to have less features, as it's simple to design an interface for tools that don't do as much. Features and raw capability are a trade-off. The more you add, the longer it takes to learn, but the more you can do. A product that is very easy to use might trade off learning time and might check off a lot of your basic and obvious requirements at the beginning of a project. But what happens is you might end up spending a lot more time down the line wrestling with the product to solve more complex problems as you go. What I'm saying is, do your diligence. Make sure that you get a tool that's going to allow you to execute a successful project at the end. Lean towards flexibility over ease of use just to be safe, because you don't know what's going to come down the line as you get into the project. Anyway, back to our estimates. Sticking with the idea of very conservative numbers, let's say that it's going to take a while for your team to get up to speed. So we're going to say maybe a month for training and 5 months for implementing the project. And we'll also put 2 developers on this. So next we can immediately recap our costs. You can see that we have an expected upfront cost because of that implementing and training, and then a continued yearly cost for the software and maintenance. By the way, the prices that you're seeing here are based on an algorithm that I created that attempts to estimate the software cost based on the industry average of several vendors, at least the ones that pricing was publicly available. Your mileage may vary here, but it should give you a pretty good estimate of what you'd be paying. At the top of this page, based on the 20 employees that we have, who we said are making about $60,000 a year, we have a raw staff cost of $6 million and a loaded rate of $7.2 million over the 5 years of this project. If you're not familiar with loaded rate, it's just factoring in the non-salary costs like building, equipment, benefits. Because it doesn't cost an employee's salary directly to keep them, it's actually a bit higher. These numbers will help us with our ROI right now. Now that we have these numbers inputted, you can see that we're estimating the return on investment based on either an increase in efficiency by percentage or by the amount of days saved. Again, sticking with our very conservative estimates, you only need a 1% increase to see some of these fairly large return values that we're estimating. And this is based purely on the salary that you're already paying your employees. If you can get a little bit more time out of them, the value that you're giving them is worth more to you. Now you can see if we go and flip this over to days saved per employee, the savings are even more significant. So you can very easily calculate an ROI from these numbers. Pretty neat, huh? Also, this shows some really cool secondary use case of a dashboard, which is the what-if analysis type that I mentioned before. I really like this type of dashboard because it allows you to input values and see results based on what you've given it. Definitely a favorite style of mine. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if you're watching this and looking at how ROI might be calculated for business intelligence, you might also be trying to justify the value of business intelligence to someone in terms of what it can do. Now, as I mentioned earlier, if you're watching this trying to figure out how to justify return on investment for a business intelligence project, you might also be trying to justify the value of visualizing data in general to one of your colleagues. I really do recommend that you take a look at that video on the benefits of visualizing data, as it really does give you some solid real-life examples of how data visualization is better than what you're probably doing today in Excel. That's all for now, and thanks for watching.